What's up everybody? So in today's video, this is part 2 of the support and resistance. So we're gonna go deep dive into the actual market, which is this right here. As you guys can see, we're gonna go to the actual chart. I'm gonna show you guys how to identify the actual support and resistance, or another way to say a valid area of support and resistance, right? I'm going to show you guys how to properly mark them up in every single time frame and what time frame are you guys going to pretty much take trades off, right? I'm also going to give you guys the idea on how to properly buy support and how to properly sell with resistance. So make sure you guys pay very close attention. If you guys did not watch part 1, I do highly recommend you guys to go watch part 1 before we go into this one, so you guys can have a big idea explaining to you what is actual support and resistance. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to start off by showing you the 3 different ways that the market moves, right? The market moves in 3 different ways. We have a range, we have an uptrend, and we also have a downtrend, right? So this is pretty much the market just consolidating, creating highs and lows. This is not pretty much any action going around this area. So just by looking at this stuff, right, what do you guys think? Is it a good area to start buying the market or selling the market? With this market condition, you guys definitely do not want to buy or sell the market at all. Now let me explain to you guys why. You guys see how the pattern is, right? High, lows, high, lows, high, lows, right? So what are you pretty much doing at that point? If you are trading something like this, you are most likely gambling, right? You're just gambling, you're not really catching any proper setups. Now if we go into the actual chart, let me see if I can find something similar. Well, if you guys look over here, this is pretty much something similar. What is price action doing over here? Just consolidating, creating highs and lows, right? So we go on the lower time frame, you guys can literally see the market is just bouncing off the support and bouncing off area of resistance. Taps 1, taps resistance, drop. Taps 1, back to the upside. Taps again, back to the downside, and it continues heading to the same exact range. So if you guys are just placing buys over here just because, okay, it's back at support, again, you are gambling. There's no proper setups taken in that zone, right? So with that being said, this market condition over here is definitely a no. You guys don't want to trade this at all. Market is just creating highs, market creating lows, just bouncing up and down, right? So there's no point of taking any trade. You have to wait for proper setups, which I'm going to show you guys in a few. Now, the other way that the market moves is an uptrend. An uptrend is whenever price action is creating higher highs and higher lows, right? This is where price are most likely breaking above area of resistance, right? Resistance always going to be on top. So these zones over here is going to be considered as area of resistance. Once price action breaks above, we form another area of resistance, right? Price action forms this other area of resistance, right? Most likely the setups that you guys want to be looking towards these zones over here is the reversal, the pullbacks, right? So once we do get a pullback, this resistance over here is now turning into an area of support, okay? On an uptrend, resistance always turns to support, right? Because support is where you guys are going to be buying the market. Same thing over here. Once we break above this area of resistance, price action is going to come back to retest these zones. If it does reject, perfect, we're going to buy the market back to the upside. This resistance over here now turns into an area of support, right? So make sure you guys write that down. In an uptrend, resistance always turns support. Resistance is always going to be previous highs. It can either be a high or a higher high. Support is always going to be a higher low, always. Now, the other way that the market moves is a downtrend, where price action is breaking under areas of support, right? So again, support is always at the bottom, resistance always on top. We have resistance here, we have support here. Let me just take this off. So we have resistance here and we have support right over here. If we look at a downtrend, what is price action doing? We're breaking under areas of support. Once price action breaks under area of support, we get another pullback. We now form an area of resistance. This is where the market, you guys are interested in selling price, right? So something just like this. We break under this next support, we wait for the pullback, and then we continue selling the market, right? So in this case, support is now going to turn into area of resistance. Support turns into what? Resistance, right? And then obviously it just continues heading to the downside until there is a switch of structure from bullish to bearish or from bearish to bullish. Alright, so now that you guys understand the drawing, I'm going to show you guys now this in the actual markets, right? So over here, we can identify that price action is obviously in a very strong bullish heading to the upside. Remember how I explained to you guys, the way to start looking for buy position or to identify bullish trend, right, or bearish trend is to identify market structure, right? Market structure is very simple, and don't worry, the next lesson is going to be all about market structure, understanding, higher highs, higher lows, and the ways that the market moves, right? As of right now, I'm just giving you guys a refresh so that you guys can pretty much have an idea so you guys don't get lost in this video. So identify the market condition is obviously by understanding the market structure. So if we understand market structure right over here, you guys can obviously see that price is just heading to the upside. So again, whenever price breaks above a previous highs, which is going to be an area of resistance, we're always going to be waiting for pullbacks, right? Once we wait for pullbacks and get price action to retest, and once it does reject, these are the zones that we're most likely are going to be buying the market. And then obviously if it continues this bullish trend completely, it's going to continue repeating itself, highs and lows, right? So if you guys take a look here in the chart, right, you can clearly see that right over here we do have a previous highs, right? So let's just go on the lower time frame, right? Let's go on the 4-hour time frame. Over here you guys can clearly see that price action, we were heading to the downside, right? This is where price action from here was creating highs, lows, highs, higher low, right? So if you take a look over here, we do have an area of previous resistance which turns into an area of support, and then it continues heading itself back into the upside. If we look at it over here, you guys can see the price action is now heading to the downside, creating lows, lower highs. What do we have here? We have this area of support, which is now turning into areas of resistance, right? If we go down a little bit to the lower time frame, right? So let's just go into here so you guys can have a better view of it. You guys can clearly see that right over here, check this out, just exactly like the drawing. Highs, lows, higher lows. Boom, we start buying the market back into the upside, right? Again, past price action can also help you guys to identify where price action might head. So if you guys take a look at previous price actions, we do have the entire areas of resistance, right? Entire area of resistance. If you guys check this out right over here, look what price action does. We break above it, we get a pullback, we do get rejection towards these zones. Now price action is now heading back into the upside. Now let's take a look at this at the bearish market. What do we have here? We have previous higher low structure. We came into a very strong area, right? This is where price action stopped that bullish trend. If you guys look left, what do you guys see over here? We have areas of resistance. Check this out. What do we have here? We have areas of support. So again, past price action is always going to help you guys understand where price action can potentially head in the future. So check this out. We look at it the bigger picture. We've seen that over here, price action did break to the downside. We broke to the downside. We did get pulled back into this side right over here. We have area of support here, support. What do we see here? We do see that price action does reject it. It does act like an area of resistance. We start seeing price action head back to the downside. Same thing over here. Price action once again comes back into this area of resistance. We are seeing rejection, and then price action starts heading back into the downside, right? Now, just to make it sure you guys clearly understand, just because price action just comes into these zones over here doesn't really necessarily mean that it's going to continue dropping, right? Those are context clues. Those can be used as confirmations, right? Obviously, it goes deep down. It's understanding how to properly enter off these zones of support or resistance, right? Obviously, I'm going to make a video to show you guys exactly how to properly enter with the entries, but just giving you guys an idea so you guys can clearly understand. Now, what do we see over here? We have previous higher lows. So price over here was creating highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, all the way till it reaches this area of resistance. Boom, we tapped this zone. We did see that price action did reject. What happens next? We're now switching its structure. We switch its structure, right, from bullish to bearish once we have a break of structure, right? Break of structure is when pretty much price action breaks above the previous structure, right? So in this case, we broke under previous higher low, right? Broke under previous higher low. Check this out. Boom, higher low, higher high, boom, broke under. What do we wait for next? We wait for pullbacks. Once price action comes back and pull back to retest these zones, and we do see that price action does reject and remain itself under, this is where we're going to be looking to take sales position back into the downside. Check this out. We do break under, we do get pulled back, boom, we do see a price action does reject. What happens next? Boom, we start heading back into the downside, and then obviously from there, price action just continues heading to the downside, creating higher high or lower lows and lower highs. We have another one over here, previous area of support, which is now turning into areas of resistance, right? You guys get the idea. It just repeats itself over and over again, right? Pretty much market is always going to repeat itself and continue the same exact pattern, either to the upside or to the downside. Check this out right over here. What do we have? Area of support. Boom, we have an area of support over here, which price action broke under. Look at this, we broke under, we get a pullback. What does it start acting as an area of resistance? We have areas of resistance, and then price action starts heading back into the downside. All right, so this over here leads to the next move, which is an uptrend, creating higher highs and higher lows, right? So we just came from heading to the downside, creating lower lows and lower highs, right? We form these areas of resistance. We have resistance here, right, slash previous highs. We have another one right over here, slash previous highs, right? What do we have here? We have a previous lows, right? These are previous lows, which price action pretty much comes and forms an area of support, right? If we look left, do we have previous area of support? Let's go into the higher time frame to double check. This zones over here was a previous area of support. It really wasn't, right? But we can see that price action did stop above these previous highs over here, which was areas of resistance, right? We can say this is kind of a minor support zone, minor support here, but it ended up pretty much just stopping at this zone, which was previous minor support here, and then it's kind of acting as a support there, right? Now let's check this out. Let's go back into the 1 hour time frame, or where we roll over here. Start. All right. Once we form this area of support, this is going to be considered as a higher or lower low, right? Because again, these lows are lower than the previous lows, right? And then obviously it just continues. Now, what do you guys see next? We do see that price action comes back because again, we are still in a bearish market. This over here did not exist yet. The market was just trading over all of these zones over here. But what we do see is that once price action comes back into this area of support over here, right, slash previous lows, we do see that price action comes back. Obviously it does act as an area of resistance, right? But what happens next? We start dropping. Boom, we form a new low, right? So this is pretty much a new low, right? Now check this out. Which low is bigger than the other one, right? Which is higher than the previous one? This lows over here is not higher than the previous one, which this over here makes it as a higher low, right? So higher low is pretty much, since we have a lower low over here, we break over here, we do see a push to the downside, but we fail to break under these lows over here. This over here is a good confirmation that price action has a potentially ready to start switching its structure from bearish to bullish, right? Just because we never broke under the previous lows, right? So if it never breaks under the previous lows, right? If it's lower low, if it never breaks under the previous lower lows, then most likely, right, price action is now getting ready to switch its structure. The only way that price action can definitely continue its bearish trend if it's break under the previous lower low. Because once it breaks under the previous lower low, what happens next? We get pulled back to then retest the zone to use it as a lower high to then start selling the market. So if you guys take a look over here, price action never broke under those previous lower over here. So again, there is a potential that market is now ready to start heading back into the upside. What happens next? Boom, we get a strong push to the upside. What do we form now? We form a new highs over here. These are higher highs because these highs are higher than the previous ones, right? So now that we got two confirmations here. One, we do see that these lows over here is now formed. These are higher than the previous one. Next, we have a break above previous lower highs slash areas of resistance. What do we have next? Boom, we have a new high form. Okay, now what do we wait for? Take a look at the drawing over here. Similar, right? We have resistance, we have resistance, we have a break above, we have a break above. We get a pullback. What do we have here? We have pullbacks. What do we see? Price action perfectly remaining itself above. Boom, switch the structure, starts heading back into the upside. What do we have over here? We have previous areas of resistance. Just look left. We click these zones over here. If you guys look left, what do we have? Resistance. We have resistance, we have resistance, and we also have resistance right over here. we kind of go all the way back over here, right? You guys can see this level, right? What do we have over here? We have previous areas of resistance as well. So we have resistance, 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 acted as support here, broke into the upside, broke back down, came back, acted like minor supports over here, came back over here. We're now holding this area as resistance. What do we have here? We have areas of resistance there, and now we have price action just continue holding as areas of resistance, right? New highs. Price action has finally broken above these price levels. What do we create? We have this high, higher lows, boom, higher high. Let's take a look at the drawing. Highs, low, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, buy. Higher highs, pull back, higher low, resistance, resistance, resistance now turns into support. Boom, this is where we buy the market. Boom, heads back into the upside. What do we have over here? Coincidence, right? Another area of resistance. We get a pullback. What does it act now? As an area of support. Boom, heads back into the upside. So very, very simple concept, right? There's nothing that is hard to understand about this concept. It's just pattern repeating itself over and over and over again. It works on both sides. It works on the bearish market and it also works on the bullish market, right? So all you gotta wait for in a bearish, right, to confirm that it's completely bearish is break of structure. Even for bullish structure, right? Always break of structure is the confirmation that's telling you, hey, price is now ready to start heading to the upside, or price is now ready to start heading to the downside, right? Break of structure is very, very important before actually looking to take a trade, right? So in this case, the break of structure was right over here. Yes, we were in an uptrend over here, right? So most likely the way for us to start selling the market, since we did come into an area of resistance, the only way for us to start selling the market is if we have a clear break of structure. Break of structure is also can be identified as a clear trend that price action is telling you, hey, there's weak buying pressure, right? We did tap into this area of resistance. There's weak buying pressure. We broke under those previous higher lows. We're now getting discounts, right? This is where the discount comes into, right? So simple. Let's say we tap into area resistance, boom, break of structure right over here, previous higher lows. There's weak signal that price action fails to break above these previous highs over here, which is now a good chance that price action is going to come back, retest these zones. Once we retest these zones, right, we have to wait for bearish confirmation, which can be any bearish candle or any bearish pattern. Once we start seeing that price action is slowly rejecting and remaining itself under, boom, we can enter the market and we can continue selling the market back to the downside. Same exact story when it comes into a bullish trend. Once we start holding, once price action comes into area support, we start seeing that sellers are no longer taking action in the market. We have to wait for break of structure. So break of structure above, on break of structure in a bullish trend has to be the previous lower highs, right? So on bullish, it has to be previous lower highs. On bearish, previous higher lows, right? So just literally switch the names. Break above, previous lower highs. What does it turn into? Boom, turns into a higher low. What do we have here? We have a new high. These are higher highs because highs are higher than the previous one. What do we have next? A pullback. Boom, we have higher lows, right? Or higher highs turns into higher lows, which are supports, right? So support is always going to be a higher low. Resistance are always going to be lower high. And then obviously it just continues its trend. We invert this all over again, right? It's just the same thing. Lower highs. We have this lower low, break under, lower high, sell. So that's pretty much it, guys, on understanding how to look for all of this. Now let me find out if I can give you guys one more example before we close out this video. All right, so here's an example of break of structure, right? So over here with this pair, we can see that this pair over here has been heading to the upside, creating higher highs and higher lows, right? So just by looking at previous price action from these zones over here, what do you guys see? Okay, boom, we broke above these previous highs. What is price action holding this as? Boom, or holding as area of support. Resistance, support, buy. What do we see over here? Previous resistance. Boom, we break above, or you guys can literally see from previous price action as well, right? Resistance, resistance. You guys look left, more areas of resistance. What happens next? Boom, price broke above. Comes back, retest it, hold that support, starts heading back into the upside, and then obviously it just continues its trend back into the upside, right? Now check this out. We come into this area of resistance. We have resistance over here, we have resistance over there. Like I told you guys, you're not gonna sell right away, because again, we're in a strong bullish trend here. What are the chances of price, tapping resistance, coming back, forming a higher low right at these zones over here, which exactly did it over here, right? So check this out. It literally did it right over here. So if we kind of mark this up, we have resistance over here, and we have these minor support, right? What are the chances of price action just coming back down, respecting these support, boom, and starts breaking to the upside? It is always going to be high. So always wait for the break of structure. So here's the example. Boom, we come into this area of resistance, which was previous all-time highs. We do see that price action does reject. Perfect. We're now seeing that sellers are heading to the market. Why? Because look, we broke under previous higher low. Let me just remove this line here. We broke under previous higher lows, right? So we have higher highs, we have higher lows, right? We broke under it. So now price action is trading under these previous higher lows. What are these previous higher lows? Support. You're gonna go down into the lower time frame, right? Lower time frame, right? So this is just an example. Again, I'm gonna make there's another video coming up, which is my entry confirmations, but this is just to give you guys an idea, right? We break under these previous higher low, which is area of support. What do we wait for now? We're always gonna be waiting for pullbacks. Once we get pullback and we are seeing that price action is failing, right, to continue its trend to the upside, meaning that price action does not want to continue breaking above, and we're still trading under, right? So let me delete this. Sorry guys, with these ads here, I gotta reprogram this entire thing to get the VIP or whatever it is. Haven't done it in a week. But going back into this, right? These are previous higher lows. Support. We are seeing that price action continues to fail to break above it. Okay, what do we see? We have one confirmation here. What do we have over here? We have another confirmation there. Where I get my entry is always going to be on the 1 minute time frame, right? So 1 minute time frame is where I pretty much look for my entry confirmations. On the 5 minute time frame, I just pretty much wait for candle closure. But if we go into here, let me just kind of zoom out right over here, right? We kind of zoom over here, right? You guys could have entered the market right over here, right? This could have been one confirmation here, or as well, this could have been another confirmation. This one over here was because, again, price action did pull back. We are seeing that price action is rejecting the zone, and we're still trading under it. Perfect. One confirmation over here. What do we have over here? A second confirmation. If price action would have taken a break even, or if you guys would have just waited for more longer, we are continuing seeing that price action is failing to break above. Okay, we're failing to break above. We're holding this area, which is now an area of resistance, which was previous support, previous higher lows, which is now acting as what? As a lower high. These over here is now considered as lower highs. These highs over here are lower than the previous highs, right? These are now lower than the previous highs. So now that price action is creating these, trend that is now possibility of heading to the downside, this over here is a perfect candle. You enter the market there, you're gonna place your stops, right? I usually place my stops with this pair with gold. I usually use like a 60 to 80 pip stop loss because I like to day trade. I like to look for like the longer term move. But in this case, let's say you guys enter the market from there. Let's go into the 5 minute time frame. And you guys place your stop loss above these previous highs right over here, which is going to be towards 50 pips. And then obviously, if you guys look left, you guys want to target any of these zones. For example, this over here can definitely be a great zone over here, which was previous area of resistance, right? So this can definitely be a great target. And then if price action continues breaking under, anywhere between here can also be a great target. But let's say you guys target this, boom. Check this out. You guys would call a very nice 1 to 2 risk to reward, right? Now check this out. What did we break under? Look how literally it repeats itself over and over again. We broke under these previous lows, right? If you guys look left, what do we have? Other previous lows, right? I literally can't make this up. It's all right there for you guys. Look at this. We have support. What do we have? Support. We have support. We have support. Right. Let's go down into a lower time frame. Right. So we go all the way back over here. We broke under previous areas of support. Right. Look left. We have more areas of support towards these zones over here. Right. So perfect area of support. We broke under. What do we form? A new low. Comes back. We're seeing rejection. Price action continues rejecting these areas of support. We're seeing that price action is failing to break above. What do we have next? This could have been two entry here. One entry could have been right over here, or if you guys wanted to play it safe, Once it took off down and came back, this over here could have also been your second entry. You guys could have entered the market here and same exact thing. You place your stop loss at break even at this case over here or anywhere between these highs. And then again, target the next zone. Boom, check that out. A 1 and 3, and then this over here, a 1 and 2. Or if you guys manage to hold this one, another 1 and 5 risk to reward. Just look how beautiful it literally repeats itself, right? And if we look at it in the other side, which is a buying position, right? We're coming into area of support. Let's go back into a higher time frame. We're coming back into areas of support, which price action is just perfectly holding above. We're not gonna buy the market right away. Why? Because again, look at previous price action. Price continues dropping itself to the downside, right? So again, what are the chances of price action just coming back, rejecting these zones over here? Exactly how I have marked up. Let me just kind of clear this up so I can explain to you guys a little bit better. I'll have it kind of a little bit messy here. Let me just clean this up very quick. I think this should be all right. Perfect. So what are the chances of price action coming back, rejecting this area of previous support, which at this case over here, notice how it's using it as area of resistance. We're seeing the drop, but what is the chances of price action just coming back, rejecting the zone, and boom, breaks under these lows over here? Obviously it's going to be very high because again, the trend continues being bearish. The stronger the trend is, right? I mean, if the time frame is higher and the stronger the trend is, it's always going to be stronger, right? So always respect the trend, always trade with the trend and not against trend, right? So if it continues breaking under, then you guys were pretty much, fucked, and then you guys would have hit stop loss because you guys did not wait, right? So now let's check this out. Go in the 5-minute time frame. We have rejection towards area of support. What are we now waiting for? We're waiting for break of structure. What is a break of structure, right? Boom, there you go. A break of structure, previous lower highs, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low, right? Lower highs because these highs over here are lower than the previous ones. This is a previous lower low. This is now a new lower low. What do we have next? Oh, check this out. Boom, a break of structure. Okay, we have a break of structure now, right? We broke above these previous lower highs. We're now forming a new high. What do we wait for next? Always wait for pullbacks. Boom, we're now getting pullback. What are we seeing? Okay, price action is now rejecting these previous lower highs, which is now holding as areas of support, right? Because again, lower highs, when it comes from an uptrend, lower highs are now going to be turning as a higher lows, right? So check this out right over here. We have higher lows. What is this over here? These are lows. These lows over here are higher than the previous one. That is already a good confirmation that price action has even better chances of price heading back into the upside, because we continue holding above these lows over here. We're still trading above these areas of previous lower highs, previous highs, which is now acting as resistance, which is holding now as support. Okay, now that we have those confirmation, what do? We go into the lower time frame, right? We look for rejection. Okay, perfect. We have rejected one time here. Price head to a downside. It comes back again. Boom, we have another rejection. What do we wait for? In this case, since I did it inverted, right, you guys are gonna see the candle different. But let's say that this black candle over here was a bullish candle, was a blue candle. Okay, if we have a bullish candle closure above these zones over here, let me enter the market. Boom, starts heading to the upside. Literally repeat itself. We have lows, we have highs, we have higher lows. We have higher highs. What do we have next? Higher lows. Previous resistance, right? Look left. Resistance, resistance, right? We have more areas of resistance over here, which price action breaks above. We get pulled back. We're seeing rejection. Okay, this is my entry over here. Another bullish engulfing candle. Boom, enter the market. What price action starts doing? Starts switching its structure to now perfectly heading to the upside. So it works both sides. On buy position, and it also works on sell position, right? So if you guys can check this out, literally repeats itself over and over again. So now that you guys understand how to properly mark up support and resistance and how to look for areas of support and resistance, right? What I want you guys to do now, I want you guys to go to your chart, right, and start marking them up, right? Start looking for different type of areas of support and resistance and start looking for those entry confirmation, the same exact ones that I showed you guys, right? The goal here is for you guys to continue learning over and over again until you guys master this concept, right? This is part 2. part 3 is where I'm going to go a little bit deeper, right? We're just going to be marking up support and resistance and how to, what time frame to actually take the setups. Because in this one, we just went in a little bit deep. We just showed you guys how to, look for the areas of support and resistance. The other one, I just want to make a little bit more stuff clear. After that, we're pretty much done with this concept, and then we're going to start off with the new one, which is, market structure, for you guys to understand the basic stuff. But I hope you guys did understand the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you guys, again, go to your screen, go to your trading view, and just continue looking for those areas and understand how to properly take trades and how to properly mark them up. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.